The Hmong are an ethnic group that were an indigenous and independent people originating from the north and central China. Over the last 3,000 years, they have been forced to migrate southward to avoid suppression and preserve their own way of life. There are at least 250,000 Hmong living in villages scattered across the isolated hills of Laos. The country is warm year-round, with a rainy and dry season, and because of this, most lived in the villages high in the mountains with homes made of bamboo and wood. There's no electricity, no roads, and no machinery. The Hmong harvested vegetables like rice, corn, buckwheat, taro, and beans for trade or consumption. All work was done by the hand and to sustain the family. The Hmong were independent, self-sufficient people. But this peaceful way of life did not last for as beautiful as it was. The tragedy was about to begin. The year is 1969. American President Richard Nixon continues the campaigns of 4 former presidents before him in the deploying of troops in Vietnam in resistance to the propagated communist influence of North Vietnam. President Kennedy has spoken before him on the United States' desire for peace in Laos. Nixon came into office with a promise to end the Vietnam War with withdrawals of troops, but beyond the knowledge of American citizens, the war itself gave birth to another war, known as the Laos Civil War. In 1970, the Civil War was fought a proxy war by Pathet Communist Laos and the Lao royal government. North Vietnam aided Pathet Laos and created the strategic Ho Chi Minh Trail that would supply the troops and bases. The United States Army worked with the Laos royal government to destroy the trail with the help of a secret army.
As a sovereign power, people desire to be independent, and it's also important because it borders the Mekong River, and quite obviously if Laos fell into communist hands, it would increase the danger along the northern frontiers. Thailand would put additional pressure in Cambodia, and would put additional pressure in South Vietnam.
Thus so, the CIA begins to fund a new military in Laos, while simultaneously fighting in Vietnam. The Hmong were the perfect group of people to fight, a surrogate army. The Hmong had begun their training. Their independence and indigenous way of life made them familiar with the terrain of Laos. They were taught guerrilla warfare and to rescue downed American pilots bombing the Ho Chi Minh Trail. But they were not only fighting for the United States. In some cases, if Pathet Communist Laos had raided your home, you were to fight under communist forces. In times, Hmong families were fighting against family, with no choice but the desire to live freely as they did. Their life was now caught in fighting for nations and hope to be free again. Because their training had begun so quickly, the number of Hmong fighting against the well-trained and experienced communist forces quickly depleted. General Vang Pao, the leader of the Hmong people, issued that Hmong boys aged 11 and older were to fight in the war.
hầu xong ý chú chụp sa chụp lô sa chụp chi thì bây bị tay chụp lo chị cũng cho được cái lúc trẻ chị cụ tỷ là khơi tới lúc họ tàu lo tôi là cái lúc trẻ chỉ là hai trẻ đầu tiên bên nó còn đó thế và có như hồng to là như các cái kia bên cổ lúc họ tàu hồ cái chị ta này chị tay thổi cái quả như hồng thâu cho tha nó giờ chỉ to to bỏ còn đây chứ xong chưa được có rồi chưa có chuyện chi được nhớ tôi thấy chừng rồi.
The Hmong villages had turned into airships for the United States Air Force. The women were notified of the men coming home, fathers, sons, and grandsons. The Hmong had fought for the United States. Their lack of training and desire to protect the land in the hills of Laos, catalyzed by the United States' ambition to resist communism. They were a group of indigenous people with no knowledge of who they were even fighting, only that there was an enemy